Kevin, thank you. Well, happening today, there's protests expected outside of areas schools before that first bell rings.
People are rallying against the Trump administration's recent Department of Education cuts and diversity, equity, and inclusion program changes. That includes several schools in West Michigan this morning. Andy Curtis joining us live with what we should know if students are heading to the classroom today. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Janice. Good morning, Elliot. That planned protest just took place here in front of Union High School in Grand Rapids. Now, what we saw was a group of educators, professional students, a large group of different people show up, and there was a few speeches, there was a few seminars. It was an event that was put on here by the Michigan Education Association and the National Education Association. It's the teachers union for educational professionals and teachers. Now, what we did see was people gather outside of this school, Union High School in Grand Rapids, and other schools across Michigan. What they were hoping to do was walk in together to start the school day, and that's what we saw. It was not meant to impact learning for the day. That's their hope at least. But these protesters say they're hoping to show that they will protect students and parents and stand in support of public education. Now, this is amid some of the long-promised moves from the Trump administration that includes layoffs at the Department of Education, cutting its staff in half. President Donald Trump has repeatedly said he wants the agency to shut down, calling it wasteful and biased. Now, some worry it will no longer be able to carry out its function as distributing federal money to schools, as well as its regulatory role in services for students, including those with disabilities. Now, it is important to note that federal funding makes up a relatively small portion of public school budgets, and the administration is also calling for the end of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at schools and universities. Now, like I said, that protest just wrapped up. All the teachers and educational professionals walked in school and into the school here in unison like they had planned on doing. But we are joined by Blake. He's the chief of staff for the Michigan Education Association, the organization in charge of putting this on this morning. Blake, what did we see here today, and did it accomplish the goal you hoped it would this morning?
Absolutely. What we saw this morning was actually part of a nationwide effort, as you mentioned. The NEA is asking our members and schools across the nation. We're going to see thousands of people participating this morning, and of course hundreds across the state of Michigan today, coming together and standing up and letting people know just how important public schools are to them as students. We heard some amazing kids today. As families, we heard some parent activists that were here to share their stories of why it's so important that we have public schools that are fully funded. And of course, our teaching professionals and our support staff that are here every single day for our kids. And so what you saw today were people coming together to show that solidarity, to show the importance of why public schools are so critical to our communities. And the crowd here today was wonderful. It was bright and early in the morning for many folks, but a lot of these kids were here as well to see and to know that, hey, there are people out there standing up for them, and that's what we're here to do.
What do you expect to do following this up?
There are going to be a number of different activities that will be happening, I'm sure, throughout the coming months as we look towards the end of the school year. But again, our whole goal here is to show a couple things. One is to bring awareness. A lot of folks may not understand exactly how much, you mentioned about the federal funding as part of overall funding. But here in Grand Rapids Public Schools, they receive over $10 million of federal funds that support programming for Title I and special ed, for example. And that is a substantial part of a school budget. So those impacts are very real. So we want to make sure that people understand what those impacts are. And while the administration is not calling for cutting funding, they are cutting staff that help distribute that funding, that help bring about those services to kids. And so that is a big reason why we're here. It's awareness, but also to show solidarity and support. And let our kids and our families know that we are here and we're going to do everything we can to not only maintain, but build a better public school system for our kids.
Okay, thanks for your time, Blake. Really
Great.
appreciate it. Now, we've got more information about not just what happened here at Union High School, but protests that were planned across the state. You can see some of the other schools here in West Michigan where we learned that those protests were planned earlier this morning, up on our website, fox17online.com. Reporting from Grand Rapids, Andy Curtis, back to you, too.